Have you ever made a TBR list that felt so perfect? Like, this is the month that I am the person I want to be. This is the month when my reading list looks the way I want to look. Like the kind of reader that I want to be. This is the version of me that has it all together. Yeah, me too. And then you proceeded to read none of it and completely ignore it. Yeah, same. So today I want to talk about TBR lists and what kind of effect they have on us as readers, why we put so much pressure on ourselves through TBR lists, why do we feel that pressure, and how actually mood reading might still be the only reason that I am reading books in general. TBRs for our ideal reading, turning it into something super stressful. Hello book besties, welcome back to my video. If you are new here, I'm Eliza and I love reading, I love books. I'm also a tattoo artist and I'm a home educating mum of 2 girls, and I just love chatting and I love sharing my passion with other people, and I love finding other people who share the same passion so we can just talk about the same crap together. So I am definitely that kind of person. I am the person who romanticizes having a structured TBR list every month and picking TBR prompts from a jar, from a spin wheel, getting other people to pick the TBRs for me. I love it. I think I really like the excitement and the fun of actually picking TBRs and books to go on my next month's list. However, I never really tend to follow these lists. I never really tend to read the books that I have picked for myself to read for the upcoming month. There was, I think, last year where I was very much in that structured mood, and maybe from like March to June or July, I religiously followed my TBR list. I have set myself goals to read certain books every month, and I actually followed through. I actually read them. I don't know what that was. I felt like February was very floppy for me last year, so I kind of said, if I have a structure, I have a TBR plan, all of those things, I will actually pull myself out of this slump. And it worked. I don't know how I did it. I couldn't really tell you. If you wanted like clues or suggestions or advice, I can't really tell you because I don't know what happened, who I was. I don't know. But then from July onwards, I went back into mood reading, like heavily, and I can't get out of it. I can't. And this year, it's just been really difficult for me to find a really good book. Like even mood reading, I'm like, I don't really know what to read. I'm scared this book's gonna flop, just like the one before. I don't want to DNF. I keep soft DNF in so many books, and I'm just being disappointed. And it's getting to the point where I am picking different hobbies over reading, and I don't like it because I love reading. I love escaping into reading and into different worlds and everything. There have been a few books that I actually absolutely adored this year and loved escaping into it. One of them is The Tides of Xanthia, which is coming out on the 16th of April. So if you're watching this on Monday, it's coming out in 3 days. And I'm so excited for you because I actually escaped into a different reality there, and it was fast-paced, it was amazing, I loved it. Bad Bishop, I absolutely loved Bad Bishop. That was like, Feathers So Vicious, I really enjoyed that. That wasn't like a 5-star for me, but I loved it. The Unwilling +1, and then the book that I'm reading right now, which is The Wicked in Me, which I'm recording a reading vlog for. Going away from the recs, spontaneous recs, let's talk more about TBRs. So apart from monthly TBRs, I have also set myself seasonal TBRs. The aesthetic is always there, and I think the perfection of it and the visual aesthetic and the romanticizing actually finishing a goal. That's always there. The intention's always there. Does it get completed though? Not really. I think the problem is that I build my TBRs, and most of us do, I'm sure you can agree. We build our TBRs for our ideal reading personality and ideal reading self, not based on who we actually are on a random. I can definitely speak for myself that my moods vary so much. I am like, I mean, apart from being a woman and your moods just going up and down anyway, I am a very everywhere person, like, but also just the everyday life that we go through. We might, have a week where we're really energetic and work is successful, and all the people that we work with or come across, whether you're out in town having a coffee somewhere or whatever, really what your calendar plan was, it could be all great and positive, and the next week not so much. Something could happen that really flops you in your mood energy anyway. So it might be a Tuesday evening when you come back from work and you just really want to read something comforting and not something intense in like high fantasy genre, or maybe dark romance, or something like historical fiction or a non-fiction book. You might not want that. You might want something like the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. You know what I mean? So whenever in the past I've made TBR lists, I've usually followed trends, whether it's TikTok recommendations, Goodreads challenges, Bookstagram, Booktube, whatever it really is. I have picked books that are hyped, or books that I, as my perfect future self, would like to see myself have finished. So I'll put like an intellectual book. I'll put a lot of the books that get hyped right now are high fantasy or romantasy books, or just fantasy books, which do require a lot of brain thought, brain effort, and brain energy. And realistically, I cannot be doing that all the time. I can't be reading fantasy books back to back because I'm gonna end up hating reading. I'm not that kind of girly. So when I make my TBR lists, normally a lot of those books on the list are fantasy. As I'm making the list, I'm like, yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'll read a little, let's put a little hyped trending romance in there. Let's put that intellectual non-fiction book in there. Oh, let's put something like really emotionally traumatizing, like A Little Life, in between. And then I have all these fantasy books on either side of them. And the reality is that I'm literally just gonna laugh at that list when it comes to it and pick a super quick dark romance read, or a lightweight romance, a little vanilla moment, or I will just pick a super fast-paced thriller, because just looking at the list and trying to conquer it, I'm already in a fucking slump. And then when I don't follow the list, I feel like I failed, And at the end of the day, reading is supposed to be fun. Why do we feel like it's homework somehow? I don't want to be back at school. What? No, thank you. I hated school, so no, I don't want it to feel like a chore, like homework. I want it to be, you know what I mean. You get me. So I don't think that the pressure around TBRs is completely accidental. There is a whole culture. Obviously, you've got BookTok, Booktube, Bookstagram, all of it. A whole culture of readers that celebrate being productive with your reading lists. It's something that you're being praised for. When you don't, I'm not saying that you necessarily get shamed for it, but instantly I feel like I would be shamed for it. Like, people would be like not trusting me anymore with my recs, or maybe they wouldn't take me seriously as a reader anymore. Saying that out loud sounds funny as shit. What? Also, things like when your TBR or like your monthly wrap up is not excessively large, like you haven't read a lot of books in the month. And I felt that pressure myself with just from different bookish influences in the past year, and in the past 2 months I've kind of eased off from it because it started to become really crazy, you know, like trying to read like 15 books a month. And like, yes, I have a reading goal, but I'm not going to be mad about it if I don't reach it or if I'm like 3 books less than it. Reading is supposed to be fun at the end of the day. It just defeats the point. If I'm just trying to like make the number, reach the number and the target, I'm telling you right now that I'm not going to be listening or paying attention to anything I read, because I'm just going to try and plow through it. Audiobook times 5, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not. Why am I doing it? Is what? And for the past 2 months, I've just literally been like, or maybe like 3 months ago, I've been like, wait a minute. I'm not really enjoying it anymore because it's becoming a little Olympic vibe. Also reading books that have been, you know, just released, keeping up with the new releases. Especially when you create content, you have to be on top of it because there's someone that's going to be ahead of you, you know, and that just adds another layer of pressure. If you're a bookish content creator, you do have to, I feel like, keep on top of everything. I know there is another way to it where you're just being yourself. I think people will watch you for whoever you are, for the vibes that you give off. Doesn't matter if you're keeping on top of it, as long as your content is relatable and your own, you know. So, and suddenly your TBR doesn't feel like it's just for you. It feels like it's something that you have to stick to. Like you owe these books your time, and like you owe your audience consistency. But like I said before, reading under pressure just doesn't feel the same. Mood reading started for me, like I said, I think last July, and it was a very conscious decision where I was like, do you know what? I actually felt like I was doing a lot of homework following through with my TBRs for the past few months. So let's give myself a break and just mood read. Let's just mood read and see what happens. And I absolutely loved it. And I haven't had or followed a structured TBR since then. And what happened was I was actually finishing my books faster. I was fully enjoying them. I was excited to pick up more books. The list goes on. My love with reading was reignited and I was obsessed with it. That said though, mood reading isn't perfect either, especially if you're a content creator. There are definitely books that I need to get to. There are arcs that I need to finish and other books that are on my list that I just keep avoiding. So a lot of your mood reading can just turn into, eventually I'll read that book, but eventually realistically never comes. So I get the point and concept of TBR list in this moment because it can be quite helpful if you're trying to get to those books. It's just not anymore when they're being very restrictive. But what I've been doing recently to kind of touch base with both TBR lists and mood reading is have like a loose, soft, possibly TBR pile where I have options that I might go into or might not pick out of for the upcoming month. So they're not books that are like, these are the books that I'm going to read this month. They're books that say, these are the books that I'm really excited about at the moment. And weirdly, I actually end up picking from that pile because at the end of the day, those are the books that I'm excited about at the moment. I think the biggest shift for me to let go of that guilt was that there is no right way to be a reader. You are you and they are them, you know, like Don't try to prove anything to anybody. Don't try to be like any other content creator. Be yourself, and like, as cliche and boring and simple as that sounds, you do you, babes. Another thing that I honestly tell everyone all the time, whether it's being a perfect housewife, the perfect mother, the perfect whatever, you are not gonna get a medal at the end of the day, babes. We're all gonna die, and you're not gonna get buried with a fucking certificate and a medal just because you have completed your TBRs every month. And just to let you know, you are definitely not failing if you don't stick to your TBR. Okay, reading is one of those hobbies that's supposed to bring you lots of enjoyment and lots of fun and escapism and all of it. Why are we turning it into something super stressful? I'm kind of rethinking TBRs. I'm not fully abandoning them, but I'm maybe changing them up a little bit, making them a little bit loose and soft, and kind of like a suggestion. Let me know what you think about TBRs and what your experience is with TBRs. Do you like to have a TBR list, or do you prefer to mood read exclusively? I'd love to know how you feel about this and if you share the same thoughts. And what's your biggest TBR fail? Because I know I'm not alone in this. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, I'll see you in the next video.